let's do another one. I've had a recurring dream since childhood. A sense of being chased by someone I do not recognize directly and never actually see. Ooh. I fly through buildings, down fire escapes, through windows and doors, but he always looming there, inescapable. The landscape changes every time, but always ends in the same room. A dusty vintage office filled to the brim with books. The sun is casting a light through a large dormer window, and I become distracted by the glow and the warmth. The door opens. Caught. Wow, what a fascinating dream. Okay. I love this. Okay, there's a lot to talk about here. Before I begin, I just want to say I am not a psychologist or any kind of doctor, nor do I pretend to be one. If you have any medical or mental health condition, I recommend you talk to your doctor, therapist, religious advisor, some sort of counselor, and things like that. And for sleep issues, I recommend trying to get a hold of a sleep specialist. But yeah, talk to your doctor. My experience comes from analyzing dreams for the better part of a decade and a half, and I've been doing it here on stream for a couple years. And the one thing I've noticed about dreams when you're being chased, or especially like the sense of being chased, if it's, let's see, especially a recurring dream of this, fire escapes at windows, doors, always, okay. If there's something chasing you and you can't see its face, or you can't, whether it's masked or anything like that, if it's chasing you around and you're always running around from it, this typically, from my experience and in the research that I've done, the person chasing you and you in the dream, it's both you. You are running away from an aspect of yourself. There's something about yourself that you don't want to face. You're avoiding this. You're avoiding accepting this truth about yourself. Personality, maybe. So like I use the example, a lot of people have this where they're either gay or queer in some kind of way, right? And they know it in their heart of hearts, but they don't want to accept it, or they suspect this about themselves, but instead of looking inward to analyze their feelings, their thoughts, or what's going on with themselves, they push it away. They're like, no, I don't want to think about it. And when those thoughts start to creep in, they run away. It can be the feeling that you get is that of running away from another person, but it's you. It's you. Your dreams are all about you. Even if there's other characters that you don't recognize or you don't know who they are, right? So, in this case, I think that's what's happening. Now, it could also be we have an instinct, especially as children, we have an instinct to run and hide whenever we don't feel safe, or whenever we're unsure, or whenever we feel small or vulnerable. Sometimes we want to fight. Sometimes we want to, somehow like act out, yell, or do something like that. But sometimes we want to hide. I think this is I think this dream is a manifestation, in part, of that instinct, the instinct to run and hide. Something is activating that. And when it comes to recurring dreams, and this is true for pretty much all recurring dreams that I can think of, everything in my experience and everything that I've researched, whatever you're experiencing in your waking life, when you have this dream, you're experiencing that similar experience each time in your life that you have this dream. For instance, if you have this dream when you said you had it in childhood, if you had this dream when you were 12, you were experiencing something that brought this about, and you have this again in your 20s, you're experiencing a similar thing in your waking life. It may not be the exact same situation, but it's similar. It's a similar feeling, right? So, what would you be running from, especially when it comes to yourself? Things that you don't want to accept about yourself. I bring up things like sexuality, gender identity, religion, even like political ideation or racism and things like that, or some sort of prejudice or bias. Things that we have one assumption of whatever that is at one point in our life, and then later on we're like, oh dude, that's bullcrap. It turns out that I don't believe that. But I don't want to accept that I don't believe that anymore, because maybe my family has raised me a certain way about my sexuality or religion. Excuse me, I'm bonking the mic. Or whatever, right? Or maybe it's like, hey, this stereotype of these people gave me this bias against a group of people, and I don't think that's right. And so you have this conflict, and whatever it is, you don't want to face it. That's typically what the thing chasing you is. Typically it's a masked person chasing you through a maze. In this one, it's not a maze, but you're flying through buildings, down fire escapes, through windows and doors. But he's always looming there, inescapable. And this is interesting. You said it ends in the same room. It's always different, a different landscape and everything, but it ends in the same room. A dusty, vintage office filled to the brim with books. I wonder if this room would be a representation of like the self or knowledge, or a library filled with information, all of the facts that you've accumulated in your knowledge over time, or data, even data that you haven't reviewed or really thought about. The information is all in there. Sometimes a room or a building in a dream can represent a container that represents the self. And sometimes the room or building represents just a place where the thing is happening. In this instance, I think that it represents the self. You're going back to the self, back to your heart of hearts. There is something cozy about a dusty vintage office, and there's something cozy about books, something safe. Because books are certain, aren't they? Books, these things are written down. You can point to it and say, this is what the book says. It says this. This is what is written there. There's something certain about books. You can't copy and paste and edit and move it around. No, it's physical. It's there. Maybe that's a feeling. If you're experiencing that feeling, then I would say this room that it ends at is saying that everything comes back to that. Everything comes back to eventually you are with yourself. And whatever this aspect of your life that you've been running from, or whatever you don't want to face, the door opens and the feeling of being caught, the feeling of, I have to face this, but you don't. I wonder if you face whatever that is, or if you look introspectively into your own life, your feelings, your thoughts, and beliefs, and that kind of thing. I wonder if these dreams would stop. I love the picturesque, I love the scene that you're portraying here in the way this is written. He said the sun is casting light through a large dormer window. And a dormer window, for those who don't know, is like, it's like a big window in like the front of a house. Like, anyway. You become distracted by the warm glow. Well, let me get a drink of my beverage. As soon as you start to feel comfortable, as soon as you start to enjoy things, as soon as you start to just appreciate the beauty of the world or the beauty of the self, someone interrupts, someone stops you and says, what are you doing? Stop that. You can't enjoy that. You can't appreciate things. What, you think this is you think you get to be happy? That could also be another feeling that accompanies these similar things. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. That's from Jonopa. Thank you, Jonopa. I think is how you say that. Anyway, appreciate it. And I'm looking here in the Twitch chat and I don't see your username. So for anyone, if I do your dream analysis here on the show and you're not present for it, no problem. Our mod and rockstar Lily Sandy is going to take this dream, copy and paste it, put it into the Discord server, and she'll even put the timestamp of the VOD so you can go back and watch it yourself and watch the dream analysis. So this one is complete at 2 hours and 33 minutes in. It starts at, I don't know, whatever Lily wrote down. So Lily already has. Thank you, Lily. Appreciate it. Thank you for that dream analysis submission.